Hi friends, my name is Kelly. Welcome back to my channel. I am going to be doing a non-spoiler review of Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment. This was a book that I had been curious about and had wanted to read, but I felt just too intimidating, too scary to dive into this Russian literature. A long time ago, I read Anna Karenina, and that's the only Russian literature I think I've ever read. And it's been a long time, and so it really felt like I hadn't even ever read any. So I had been watching Micah Cummins' channel a lot, and he really enjoyed his read of Crime and Punishment. And I said, man, I would like to try it, but I don't think I can handle it. He had told me he'd been intimidated too. And so I was like, I'm going to do it. In 2023, it's happening. And I got some encouragement from my friend Courtney at Courtney Reads. She said she would read along with me, and she has a good background in the Russian language and Russian literature, and she helped me understand the different names, that everybody has a few different names and why that is. And it just was so nice to have the support of the BookTube community to get me into reading this book. Well, this book is, and excuse me if I mispronounce these Russian names. I apologize if you are a big Russian literature fan or it is your natural language. Please forgive me for butchering this. But we follow our main character, Raskolnikov, and he is a student that is taking a break. He's not really doing much of anything. He's in a very bad state of just poverty. He has no money. He's clearly very discouraged, depressed, not doing well emotionally. He starts having this horrendous idea of a crime to commit, and it makes him ill, it makes him irritated, but he has like this certain mindset of why he thinks he should do this crime, why he thinks that he should be the one to do it, and he commits this horrendous crime. And the book follows him as he is dealing with the emotional anguish of that. It's interesting how he lies to himself and then feels guilt over what he's done and lies to himself so much more. And as I was reading this, I thought, we may not, as ourselves, commit such a horrendous crime, but there's things that we're probably doing wrong every single day where we justify and lie, and then we feel guilt, and then we justify and lie and we feel guilt, instead of dealing with what we've done or what we're continuing to do. And so that was one thing that really struck me. Family love is another thing that really struck me in this, and then love of people that just have a righteous thought process. There are people that are like that. Our family a lot of times will forgive us for even the most horrendous things. And then there are sometimes friends that we have in our lives that will forgive us of the worst types of things because they love us and they recognize what is good in us, even if we have some really evil parts of ourselves. So that really struck me about this book as well. I felt like a big message of the story was dealing with political ideologies and religious ideologies. This is in Russia in the 1800s, and ideas of communism were already taking hold. Maybe not in the way that we see it in Russia and some other communist countries now. I would say it was the most radical socialism imaginable in some people's minds. Like, there's a character who was actually a very kind, good character that ended up saving someone. But he was totally against private generosity, private charity. If you need something, me give it money. He only saw charity as like an organization, as a group. You can only help people as a group, not as an individual. It was so interesting that that was an idea that people were really latching onto. Our main character, Raskolnikov, he was a nihilist for a good portion of the book and totally rejected any ideas of religion or God. He wasn't raised that way, but he, in his studies and his, he was very obsessed with psychology, and to a fault, to a point that it got him in a lot of trouble with the way he processed things emotionally and the actions that it had him take. There is an ending. There are 6 parts of this book. There's an ending, chapter 8 and part 6, that very satisfyingly, in a bittersweet way, wraps the story up. And then later on, Dostoevsky added on an epilogue with 2 chapters. And I love it, the story, the dramatic way the story ends after chapter 8. But I'm glad that he added the epilogues, because it showed that just a completely nihilistic approach to life isn't healthy, and it showed that there can be hope after bad mistakes, that in a way it's never too late for anyone. And so I appreciated those extra epilogues. But for the dramaticness of the story, you can almost end at chapter 8, part 6. Have you guys done a big Russian literature deep dive in your reading? Let me know if you've read several. Let me know if you've read Crime and Punishment. Let me know if you haven't read any and you're terrified, so that I can encourage you and say it's going to be okay. I hope that you guys read a lot. I hope that if you're scared, you pick this up, and I hope you read a lot. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.